What's up, everyone? You watch your own Air Nate Java podcast here on YouTube. I drop fresh, hot content daily. Guys, please like, comment, subscribe to this channel, ring that bell, and you'll be notified of all my upcoming video releases. Guys, let's jump on into this morning's video. It has to do with Stephen A. Smith talking about Will Smith presenting at the Grammys and his feelings about this. So let's get into it.
Awards are this weekend, and some of the presenters have been announced. Earlier today, the Recording Academy revealed that Cardi B, SZA, and Will Smith will join Taylor Swift among the presenters at the award show. One could argue this is a big moment for Will Smith, who hasn't presented on this big of a stage since slapping comedian Chris Rock at the Oscars in 2022. Smith did perform at the BET Awards last summer, but that's been about it in terms of appearing in major award shows. By the way, the Grammys will also celebrate the life of Quincy Jones, in addition to the resilience of Los Angeles amid the ongoing fires in the city. But I want to focus on Will Smith. Obviously, I've been critical of Will Smith because I'm a friend of Chris Rock's, and I don't appreciate what Will did. But I want to thank several people.
You know, guys, it's crazy to me that they will allow someone like Will Smith to actually go back up there and present on the Grammys stage, which they did allow this. This has already happened at this point. But it's pretty rowdy that they allow this to happen, being he actually slapped and committed a violent act on another man in Chris Rock just a couple years ago. You know, there's been people that the media has tried to cancel. They really didn't do anything that bad. Like Roseanne, for example, the leftist people jumped all on her ass over a
what is that
back and forth on Twitter. And then you allow someone like Will Smith to come in who committed a violent act against another person on live TV. Then you gave him the award afterwards like nothing happened. Most people that would have committed that act that he did would have been freaking arrested.
But I want to thank several people. I want to thank my man, Charlie Mack, who was a bodyguard and a longtime friend spanning decades for Will Smith. I want to thank the great Antoine Fuqua, the director and producer extraordinaire, who did Emancipation with Will Smith. Would have won an Oscar for that, too, had Will Smith not slapped Chris Rock. I want to thank Will Packer, who produced the Oscars, that same Oscars that Will Smith did what he did with Chris Rock. I want to thank my man Dougie Cash, who used to work at Hulu and used to work under Will Smith years ago and stuff like that. They weren't the only ones, but primarily those four brothers reached out to me directly. And Charlie Mack was the most profound because I had said something about Will Smith prior to Bad Boys Ride or Die coming out, which, by the way, was a fantastic movie I've now seen about 5 times. And Charlie Mack said,
not that good.
What about Grace, Stephen A? He made a mistake. And I explained to Charlie Mack that as bad as I thought it was to be slapping a black man on national television.
It's bad to slap anybody on TV.
What really vexed me most was how it would affect Will Packer, how it would affect Antoine Fuqua, how it would affect Chris Rock. And I thought about the collateral damage that would take fold and how it would detrimentally affect opportunities for all of us down the line. And I just found myself asking, how could he do that? How could he lose himself and hurt all of us like that? But Will Smith is a fantastic artist who's done so much for so many people in this world, especially stuff, folks from our community. That reality is they were right. And I've known that for quite some time, which is why I haven't said anything from Will Smith. To see him in the movies is a great thing. To see him still thriving is a great thing. Chris Rock has moved on with his life. Who says Will Smith isn't entitled to do so himself? And to think about him coming back to the big stage and being at the awards and what have you, I'm quite sure he'll get a good ovation. And it'll be because none of us want to be measured by our worst moment.
Right.
All of us are flawed in the eyes of God.
That's fair.
And my man, Charlie Mack. I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for reminding me of something I should have known all along. Despite what Will Smith did, he's still one of the great ones. And he's one of the genuine good guys. He made a mistake. And all of us should move on.
All right, let's get down to this and break this down. I'm going to break this down from my point of view here. Stephen A. Smith wants to forgive and move on with Will Smith having slapped Chris Rock in the face over a joke about Jada Pickett Smith or whatever. You know, I'm cool with it. I'm perfectly fine with that. I think that's a great way to actually be. You know, I don't really hold grudges in my life because, you know, I read something one time a long time ago. It's like holding a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. You know, I understand what Stephen A. Smith is saying here, but I do want to point out something that I think is absolutely biased, absolutely ridiculous. Stephen A. Smith is willing to forgive Will Smith because Will Smith is a quote-unquote black man actor, okay? Now, Will Smith chose to go up there and slap Chris Rock in the face. But, you know, Stephen A. Smith is so quick to point out all these things that really have no basis, such as, you know, Donald Trump, for example. You know, Donald Trump has never slapped anybody publicly in the face. You might not like his policies, but Stephen A. Smith sat there the whole time during the Summer of Love and didn't say anything about people calling him a white supremacist. Oh no! Calling him a Nazi. Oh no! A Nazi. And he didn't say anything until years later, after it was over. And then he acted like, oh, I didn't believe that. I didn't believe that. Sure. The thing about Stephen A. Smith is a lot of times I agree with him. And I agree with the idea that, you know, yeah, man, we shouldn't judge somebody by their worst moment. Will Smith shouldn't be judged by his worst moment. I like Will Smith, man. You know, but the audacity, the elitism it takes to walk up and slap another man on national TV, not get in trouble, not get arrested, shows you the elitist inside Will Smith. And it shows you kind of sort of the elitism inside Stephen A. Smith because of the simple fact he's willing to forgive him because of his skin color. Guys, here's the thing. A lot of people on the left, they play identity politics. They are absolutely full of what's called tribalism. And it's really ridiculous to even try to talk to some people about certain situations because they have a bias leaning crazy A viewpoint. Do I care Will Smith slap Chris Rock? Not really. When it happened, it was pretty crazy. But it's the idea behind it. Stephen A. Smith is so quick to forgive and forget and move on because of Will Smith's skin color. But Stephen A. Smith is very quick to remind us all daily about his viewpoints and his bias-leaning ideas, how he views white people. I hope you guys have a blessed day. You take care. You watch it On Air with Nick Java podcast here on YouTube and Facebook. You guys be safe. One love.